So one of the ways we're going to do that is with colour. Now I'm going to simplify my shape slightly. So I'm going to say a 5-sided shape, and 360 divided by 5 is 72. So let's just do that quickly. So I'm not going to loop the loop, just going to do a pentagon. Let's just check it. Perfect. So I'm going to get my sides a bit bigger here. There we go. So I've got a pentagon. Now I'm going to say I want 5 pentagons. And I'm going to turn 72 degrees in between each pentagon. And at the end I'm going to hide scratch. Let's check this one out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Beautiful. Now then, let's play with colour for a bit here, because this is algorithmic art, and if all we've got is thin blue lines, then it's not particularly appealing to the eye. So here we can change colour and set pen colour. We're going to start with set. Now set means once it's set, that's it. But we can reset within our code, but we're not changing by an amount. We're setting to a specific colour. So let's go for what's going to look good here. Let's try a purpley thing like that. So in my initialization at the top here, I'm setting my pen colour to purple. And now my pattern is purple. And let's also set pen size to, let's say 4 now. So what we get is a thicker line, a bolder line. Okay, so now I might change my patterning. I'm going to go for 8 pentagons. Let's try that. So 8, and you can work this out, remember, 360 divided by the number of shapes you want, or the number of sides of your shape. So I'm sticking with pentagons, a 5-sided shape. 360 divided by 5, 72. 360 is that magic number, that circle. Okay, all the way around is 360. So for a 5-sided shape, we need to move 72 degrees round after drawing each line. But I'm going to go for 8 of them. So I know that 360 divided by 8 is 45. So let's see what we get here. Got 1 pentagon, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's kind of interesting. It kind of looks like squares on the corner here, but I get this nice diamond thing happening in the middle. I could make that slightly bigger. I'm going to speed up my my drawing of these things here. I'm going to say 0.03, just so we see it a bit quicker. There we go. Now I can change the thickness. Now anything over about 10 becomes a bit unusable. You're welcome to experiment, of course. But if we get to 20, let's see. And the way things overlap kind of becomes interesting in the gaps in between, I suppose. But we do lack seeing what's going on inside. We're going to come to something advanced with that later. So I'd say keep it under 10. Let's try 7. Yep, that still has a nice contrast between the space and the thickness of the lines. Let's try changing the color. Let's go for a green. Let's go for a paler green color. That works nicely too. So between those, I'd like you to have a go with changing the number of sides of your shape. And I should show you, we don't always, we need to learn the rules as an artist to then know how we can break them. So for example, if I said 5 sides, but I didn't have 72 here, let's say I had 100. Should we see what happens? Because I always teach it like the mathematical way, but of course in class, this is not always the way it turns out, so let's see. So we might end up with something like that. Or you might put like an interesting number like 820. And so we start to actually get these very interesting star shapes. Let's put a bigger number in here for the number of steps. So we end up with all sorts of interesting stars going on. Can you see? Let's try that with 60 degrees. See what we get here. Oh, look at that. We get the perfect hexagon. This must be a multiple of 6. Let's try a number that's not likely to be, and let's put that down here. Let's make our side slightly smaller. And let's put in maybe 52. Let's try that. What do we get? So you can see where we don't quite overlap here. We should end up with a nice circle here. There we go. Let's try it. So experimentation is key. Try 14 degrees. Okay, well that's far too big. Let's try a much smaller size. Here we go. So we're getting a very jiggity circle from scratch being drawn here. So do experiment by all means, but if you want to come back to, and I do recommend, coming back to these geometric patterns that we're creating, then these multiples of 360, let's make our side 65 in length. There we go. Or where I think you get the most interesting patterns. But experimenting is fun, of course. So I'm going to do 8 hexagons. Let's see what we get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice. So here's what I'd like you to do. Take some time now and experiment with setting the pen color. Notice it's set, not change. If it's change, every time you run, it will change the color from what it was by an amount. And if you change pen size, it will keep getting bigger or smaller by this amount. So don't put change in here without a set to reset it every time you run the code again. You can experiment, of course, with changing pen colors inside here, but we'll look at that in the next video. So with set pen color and set pen size, up here in your initialization, I'd like you to experiment more with your shape and how many times you repeat it. Play with the step size. How big is it going to be? How small does it need to be to fit on? And I'll see you in the next video.